सत्यमेव जयते नानित्रम् उद्धृशितं जागृतप्राप्य वरानि विभोन्दत. Hello, good morning in the morning. Today in the episode number 8, we have reached to the second portion of this century-old manuscript, and in this section of episode number 8, we will be preach to you the basic Hindu religion, customs, and rules. The second portion of this episode is going to be happen only on the Hindu religion and its customs. So what are the sanskara? What are the general Hindu religious customs and rites was mentioned in the ancient life mastery, and how the people were living their life. We will share that with you today in this session. And first, in the Hindu rituals and customs, the rites and custom, it comes the sanskara. What does sanskara means? So we will be talk about this today. Everyday religion prescribed a number of ceremonies or rites to be performed by the followers. The use of these ceremonies, speaking generally, is one to help the jiva to conquer and purify his self. Two, to be bring to his aid superior intelligence such as the devas and the rishis. Three, to improve the atmosphere around him and so make it easier for him to study and concentrate on his mind or control his mind. To this end are used material objects, gestures, postures, and sound, all carefully arranged to bring about the result aimed at. The objects used are chosen for their good magnetics, and in many cases, such as particular flower offered to a particular deva because they share the magnetism of the object of meditation or of worship, and thus make a link between that object and the worshipper. Thus, a mala, a rosary of tulsi beads is used in the worship of Shri Krishna. One of Rudraksha in the worship of Mahadeva. Mean the Tulsi Mala has been used for Shri Krishna to impress him to worship him, and the Rudraksha is specifically for impress the god of Mahadeva. Gesture and posture, for the most part, affect the puranas, the subdivisional of divisions of the life breath that circulate in the body. Some prevent the magnetism of the body from escaping into the surrounding atmosphere and force its current to move in a way suitable for calm and quiet thought. Sounds are used for all the three purposes mentioned above. As I have mentioned earlier, the sounds are used for three purposes mentioned. They give rise to vibration, and as these vibrations are regular and even, they make the vibrations of the Suksham Sharira, which is very sensitive and easily affected regularly and even also. When these vibrations of the Suksham Sharira are made regular, the Jiva is much helped in steadiness of thought and devolution. Thoughts and devotions is there, so it controls their mind and senses, the Suksham Sharira. Sounds of a suitable kind attract the attention of the rishis and devas to the person uttering the sounds, and they help him. For the suitable sound drive away holistic intelligence and bad magnetic influences, and so improve the surroundings of the speaker. Sounds thus used are called mantras. A mantra is a succession of sound, a definite sequence. The sounds being arranged in a certain order. If the sounds are changed, the vibration are changed, and the result will be changed. This is the important part. If the sound has changed, their vibration will be changed, so the result automatically will be changed accordingly. That is why a mantra cannot be translated. A translated mantra is like a sentence in which all the letters of the words are jumbled up and so convey no meaning. There is another thing to remember about mantra. If the man who utters a mantra is not trying to lead a good life, the vibration of the mantra will do him harm, not good. For as they work on his Suksham Sharira, they bring to bear on it a force antagonistic to evil desire and evil thoughts, and shake it very violently and may even wound and tear it as his evil resolve, make it vibrate in any way, and the vibration of the mantra force it into another. If his resolve are good, then they work him with the mantra and cause no conflict. However, weak they may be, they aid and do not hide, do not hinder. Mantras need not to be spoken aloud, and their silent repetition is indeed more powerful than audible recitation or recitation. They affect the subtle kinds of matter more than the denser. Among the ceremony in the life of a Hindu are some important ones that mark the chief stages of his life. In older days, these were numerous, 10 standing out as the chief, but of these 10, only some are now practiced. Seven of the sanskara relate to the infinital life and early childhood. Of the seven, the sixth, Annapurnam, the first filling. The first feeding with solid food is universally observed, and the seventh, Chandrakarma, the tonsure, and with it the piercing of the ear is performed almost universally. Then comes the importance of eighth samskara, the Upannaya, the leading of the boy to the Guru, who gives him the scared thread and teaches him the Gayatri, this initiation making him a Dibija twice born. The Upanayana is the beginning of the pupil stage of life. During his brahmacharya, entire celibacy is enjoyed, and the duty of the lad is to study diligently. This stage is closed by the formal return home, the Samavartana. After which he is ready to enter the second stage of life, that of the householder, the Grihastha. The tenth samskara, vivaha, marriage, making his entry into the manhood and its responsibilities. In modern India, these wholesome rules have fallen into disuse. Though the Upayana and Vivaha Sanskara are maintained as ceremonies, marriage is encourageously thrust into the mind's midst of the pupil life, and the duties of manhood and boyhood are mixed up to the injury of both. May the ancient rule be speedily revived. एकं शब्दं सुप्रयुक्तं स्वर्गे लोके कामधुमं भवति. One sound well uttered becomes as the cow of plenty in the Swarga world. Mantrohina savarto swargato va mithya prayuktato na tarkasammahe sobra bhavajru yajmana hinnasti yathendra shatru saraswata paraghat. The mantra defective in sarva, infection, or varna, letter or color is uttered fastly and declares not the true meaning. That lightning word slayeth the performer himself as the word Indrashatru for fault of Sarva slew Vritra, the performer of the sacrifices and the enemy of Indra, instead of slaying Indra, the enemy of Vritrara, as indeed. वैदिके कर्माणि पुराणे निर्दिष्टकाले दिव्यजनमानां कार्यशरीरसंस्कारं पावनं प्रत्यक्षे च. With second Vedica's rites should be performed the sanskara of the body, namely Nishika, and the rest of the twice born, which purify here and hereafter. चित्रकर्मा यथाने कराणे रुमेले ये शनै ब्रह्मणरायेऽपि तद् संस्कारकारे विविधु पूर्वके. As the outline of a picture is lighted up slowly with the filling in of many colors, even so is Brahmanya. Brahmanya with scripture, sanskara. गर्भधाना पुष्पन्न समते जात कर्म च नाम क्रिया निष्कर्मो अन्ननाना प्रशसनम पपन क्रिया कर्मबोधे वेदो व्रतादेशो वेदारम्भ क्रिया विधि केशांत सनान मुद्दुराहे विवाह विभिन्न परिग्रह त्रेता संग्रह ग्रह शनैषु संस्कारा शोषित समृता. The Saskara number two coming here with as the Shraddha. Shraddha is the name of ceremony performed to help the Jiva who has put off his visible body in death by those who remain in this world. The Jiva that has put off his visible body is called a Preta, and the part of the Shraddha performed to help him as this stage is called the Preta Kriya. The visible body, the Ananya Koshasha, Ananya Kosha is carried to the burning ground that it was that dissolved into its constituents. As quickly as possible, the ashes are gathered together or on the third day and are thrown into running water, preferably into a scared stream. Preferably into a sacred stream when the anaya anayamaya kosha is destroyed, the pranamaya kosha rapidly disappear, and this disposal is quickened by some of the mantra used as the cremation. Burning is the best way of destroying a dead body. And this destruction is important both for the departed jiva and for the left behind, so long as it remains undissolved. The pranayama kosha hangs around it in consequence of the magnetic attraction between them, and the jiva is thus linked to the earth, which is bad for him. On the other hand, a slowly decaying body in the ground, as in burial, sends out poisonous gases, and this is bad for those remaining behind. The Shraddha performed after the burning help in a rearrangement of the material of the Manomaya Kosha, partially by the magnetic influence of the object used, and partially by the vibration set up by the mantras. After a certain time, the Sapindikarana ceremony means the Pindadana ceremony is performed, which helped the Jiva to pass from Pretaloka to Prithviloka, and he is then enrolled among the Pitris, or the ancestor living in the subtle region of the Bhurloka. Seven generation, one is Bhurloka and six in Bhurloka can affect each other. When the Jiva passes on into the Swarga, he has no further need of the help furnished by Shraddha. देशकाले च पात्रे च श्रद्धाय विधिना च यते पितृनिर्दिशये ये प्रवैतानश्रद्धा मुद्धा हर्दतम्. Give to deserving brahmanas for the sake of benefit to the pitris in the proper time and places, and with faith are known as shraddha. कुर्याद देहि रहे श्राद्ध ममंत्रे घेने देदनो कहने च परो मूल फलेवासी पितृभय पितृमानव. Shraddha should be offered to the Pitris day by day with corn and water, or even roots and fruits and water also, bringing them satisfaction. Panchabhave eva matra bhave preto krishtitina nigrama sharira yatra narthiyama dupipate dhrubam तेनान्य बहु तायामि शरीरे गृहे यातना तासवेगो भूतानुत्रासो प्रलीपते विरागशः. यदा चरेत धर्म स प्राश्यो धर्ममलस्य पलस्तरेपे चावत्रिभूतो स्वर्गे सुखमुनाश्रिते. Out of the five elements, a subtle but firm body is born as seed. The sinful jiva after death, they may suffer punishment there in the Swarga. After the suffering of the punishments awarded by the Yama is that body, the body dissolved again into the element. If the Jiva has done more dharma and little adharma, he goes on to Swarga and enjoys happiness. These includes in another body composed of the same elements. चितो मोक्षे प्रवृत्ति च प्रेत तत्व मुक्तयायते. After the cremation is completed, the jiva becomes a preta. वर्ष आवत खग श्रेष्ठ मार्गे गच्छति मानव तत्त पितृग्रहो सर्वे पितृलोक स गच्छति. दते षोडशमी श्राद्धे पितृभिः सह मोदते पितृपुत्रेगा कर्तव्यानि सपिण्डीकरणानि सदा. The jiva remain on the path, the preta loka for a year, oh best of worlds, and then he passes on into the pritiloka and dwells with the pitris. By the offering of the 16 Shraddhas, he is helped to dwell in joy with the Pitris. Therefore, should the son ever perform the Sapindi Karma rites for the father. The third ritual and the rites of the Hindu religion come to the Swacham. Haucham or the Socha consist of the rules laid down for keeping bodily purity and thus ensuring physical health and strength. Diseases is a sign that some law of nature has been disregarded, and the rishis, knowing that the laws of nature are the law of God, the expression of his being, and that the jiva is a portion of God, evolved in matter, have treated obedience to the laws of nature as a religious duty. The visible body with its invisible double, the prana moksha kosha, being made of physical material, it is necessary to use physical means to make them pure and to keep them pure, and we need to understand them in order to do this. The visible body, the Anannamaya Kosha, is composed of particles drawn from the food we eat, the liquid we drink, and the air we breathe, and from a constant rain of minute particles. Too tiny for us to see that falls upon us continually from the people and the things around you or us. This last statement may sound a little strange, but it is true. Our bodies are not made of dead matter, for these is no such thing as dead matter. Matter is made by of the teeny living things called atoms and of other teeny living things that are collections of atoms. A grain of dust is a collection of myriad upon myriads of tiny living creatures, and there are grade upon grades of these minutes' lives, till we come to what are called microwaves that can be seen with the help of microscope. Now, these microwaves are the other smaller lives lives of all floated about in the air, and our bodies and all things are made up of these stone, plants, animals, human beings, and all the manufactured things around us, houses, furniture, clothes are constantly giving off cloud of these particles. Everything near us and still more, everything we touch gives us some of its particles and we give it some of ours. If we are to be healthy, we must only take into our bodies pure particles and drive away impure ones. The rules of Socha are intended to show up how to do this. The food we eat must be pure. Now all things are becoming more alive or are getting nearer death, are being built up or are being destroyed. Pure food is becoming more alive. He has life in it which is unfolding. Its next natural stage is one of the higher integration that is of greater complexity. Fresh leaves and fruits, grains and roots are full of life with is unfolding. We take that life into our bodies and it builds them up. These things become impure if they are stale, for the life is then departing. They are on the way to death. All flesh is more or less impure because its indwelling life has been driven from it, and it is ready to decay. Its next natural stage is one of the disintegration, that is, of breaking up into the similar forms. The body built by it is more liable to disease that the body built up of plant products. Wound heal less quickly and fewer run higher. Of liquids, pure water is necessary to help and infusion of herbs in it, such as tea, coffee, and cold take in. Milk is at once food and drink of the purest kind. Every form of drink into which alcohol enters is impure and most harmful to the body. It is fermented liquor, that is, liquor in which decomposition has begun, and it injures the tissues of the body and is a distinct poison to the brain, especially it is mischievous in a hot climate, bringing about premature decay and early death. So, also are drinks impure into the which enter such stupefying drugs as Indian hemp, the popular but health destroying bags. Pure air is a necessary to health as pure food as drink. As we breathe, we send out a gas called carbon dioxide, which is stupefying. And if we shut ourselves into a confined space, all the air into become laden with this and unfit to breathe. Further, the breath carries out with it waste particles from the interior of the body, and unless the fresh air blows these way, they are breathed in again into our lungs and those of other and are poisonous in their effects. We must not only build up our body out of clean material, but we must keep the surface of the body clean by frequent washing and bathing. The whole body must be bathed at least once every day and well rubbed in bathing so that all the loose particles may be washed away and the skin kept clean and fresh. Any part of the body that become soiled, feet, hand, etc. should be washed, and washing before and after food must never be omitted. To eat with unwashed hand is to run the risk of soiling the food with dust and other injurious particles, and the washing after food is obviously imperative. The garment next the body should also be washed daily. The Hindu ever accustomed to look at the quarter world as the symbol of the inner has joined to his outer evolutions. The idea of inner purification as he washes the outer body, he repeats mantras for the purifying of the inner bodies and thus weaves his religion into the commonest incidents of daily life. People will now see why the rishis were so particular about cleanliness. A person with a dirty body and with dirty clothes fills the air around him with impure particles and poison the people around him. We must be clean not only for our own sake but for the sake of those around us. A dirty person, dirty clothes, dirty houses are center of poison, public danger. The beauty of the prana maya kosha depends on the magnetic currents in it. It is quickly affected by the magnetic properties of surrounding objects. And we have therefore to be careful on this point also. Thus, some plant product and plants, while harmless to the Annamaya kosha, are very injurious to the Pranamaya kosha, such as onion and garlic. Their magnetism is worse than that of flesh. These kosha is also most seriously affected by the alcoholic emanations and by the pranamaya kosha of others. What is still more important is that it is affected by its own Bhumaya Kosha and through it by those of others, hence the dangers of bad company. Now, the beauty of the Bhumaya Kosha depends on the beauty of its owner's thoughts and desires. And herein lies the most fertile sources of impurity in the Annamaya and Pranamaya kosha. These two physical koshas cannot be pure and healthy if the thoughts and desires are impure. A man may observe the rules of Shocha to the last point of the strictness. But if he be proud, passionate, harsh, vain, suspicious, he is pouring impurity into these koshas faster than any rules can wash it out. In the eyes of the rishis and the devas, such a one is ever ashuchi. Duradavaso thanamantram darata padavesite chanam uchchati shatyakanam naneshate cha duradeve samacharet. Far from his dwelling, let him remove excrement, for the water used for washing his feet, for the living of foods and bath water. अनाचमय प्रत्यय नित्युमोहे साधे समाहित शुचो देशे जपयन्ति जपनमपवीत यथा विधि. Being purified by shipping water, being purified by sipping water, he shall always daily worship in two twilights with a collected mind in a pure place, performing japa according to rule. उपसपृश्येत् दिग्गजो नित्यं नमं घातसमाहित भुक्तां चोस्वरूपे समधिगन्धर्ति खानि च सपरिशिषेत. Having washed the twice born should eat food always with a collected mind. Having eaten, let him reason well and sprinkle the sense organs with water. ज्ञानतपोचिङ्गिरायहारो मिम्मनोः वायुर्वाजपनं वायुकर्मकलोकाको च शुद्धे कृतनेहि देहि नाम. Wisdom, accuracy, wisdom, austerity, fire, food, earth, mind, water, plastering, wine, wind, fire, rights, the sun and time are the purifier of bodies. रागिणी शुद्ध चैचित मन सत्येन शुद्धति विद्या तपो सभया भूतात्मा बुद्धि ज्ञान चे शुद्धिति. The body is purified by water, the mind by truth, the soul by knowledge and austerity, the reason by wisdom. Nahi jnanena sahasya pavitramihi vidyate. Verily there is no purifier in this world like wisdom. अपि चेत्सु दुराचारो भज्यते मानक मानननयो भाग साधुरेव स मन्तव्य समय गमति सितो हि स. जीवो भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वे गच्छति नैर्गच्छति प्रेतै प्रजिनीहेनाभिः भक्तो प्रकाशयति. Even if the most sinful worship me with undwelled heart, the two must be accounted righteous for the heads rightly resolved. Speedily he become the dutiful and goeth to the everlasting peace. Know to O Kuntia that may devote perisheth never.